I wish I had a friend to play online poker with.
No. So one day, Steve, one day, you're so cheap. It's not that you won't even buy the shit to throw avatars. You won't even play in the game. You won't even pay the $10 to play virtual poker. Hey, Steve.
How's it going, Greg?
Pretty good. What do you mean you don't have a good feeling about tonight?
I don't know. Maybe it's because it's been so long since we did one, and I don't know.
I mean, you got, it's like the baseball player who gets butterflies before the game or something, like, or gets that feeling. I don't know. I want you to have a good feeling about this.
Well, I'll try to overcome. Hopefully you can bring out the best in me.
I'll do my best. Welcome to Bird Brag, everybody. I'm Greg.
I'm Steve.
And we're here to talk about nature and stuff. And as we always start, I'm going to ask Steve, what are you drinking?
I'm back to the Roku Gin tonight. And
a callback.
The callback. And I'm mixing it with the Schweppes. But
Schweppes. So you're gin and soda?
Gin and tonic.
Oh, gin and tonic. Schweppes tonic. Got it.
So do you say Schweppes or Schweppies?
I don't say Schweppies, and I don't know if I've ever heard anyone say Schweppies.
I had never heard it, and then actually my boss, who I've been talking about, he said Schweppies, and I'm like, I never heard that. Is that how it is?
That's good. Well, thanks for asking. What I'm drinking is I'm going to go with a little Gentleman Jack.
All right.
My cousin is a big Gentleman Jack fan, and I like it. That's the ice going in the glass, everybody. And so saw it on the counter and thought I'd go for it. I don't know.
Nice.
So let me pour a little glass here and let's cheers.
All right. Yeah, I don't think I've ever had the regular straight Gentleman Jack.
Oh, it's good. All right. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.
Okay. All right. So do we know what we're talking about tonight?
We do.
What are we going to be talking about?
Well, I'm going to start a little differently. We're going to start with the call. And I want you to tell me just your impressions and what it makes you think about.
Okay. I like where this is going.
All right. So let's see here. Make sure my volume's turned up.
Okay. So I'm going to go with that's a bird and not a monkey.
Okay.
Am I close?
You're right so far.
Okay. God, I don't even know if I have a guess on even the size. I'm going to say that it's not a big bird, and I'm also going to say it's not a small bird.
That's not bad either.
I'm going to go with what else can I dissect out of that?
Do you think you've heard it before?
I feel like I've heard it before. I mean, it's not a crow. It's not like the crow caw that I'm used to. And I don't know if I exactly know what a magpie would call would be, but I feel like even that's like a bigger bird than what this would be. So those are like, I don't know if I could narrow it down any more than that.
So it's a call of a cactus wren, which is kind of a southwestern bird. But the reason I was asking you if you've heard it, because you commonly hear it in the kind of soundtracks of like Western movies and things like that, because it's a pretty iconic species for those areas. And actually kind of a funny story is I was watching the last season's Bachelorette finale.
Oh yeah, I could see that.
Because that's one of the things I like to do is just turn off my brain every now and then.
That's part of the ant stuff. It's not part of the nature, but it's part of the ant stuff for sure.
So they were in Australia, and like they showed us some pictures of some birds and stuff like that, and then they played a cactus wren call, and that bird is not found anywhere near Australia. It probably made me angrier than I should have.
Oh, yeah, making Bird Brag angry.
Yeah,
getting his ire up.
I tweeted Chris Harrison and got no response, as you might expect. But
so you got your cackles up. That's what you got.
Yes, for sure, for sure.
Good.
So yeah, and then the other thing that I thought you might have said, because you grew up in kind of the same era I did, and probably had to deal with a lot of junky cars that people don't seem to have to deal with near as much these days. But a lot of people describe it as kind of a car with a low battery just turning over and over and over.
Oh, I could hear that. Yeah, I could hear that. Okay, so I want to make sure that I get a Cactus Wren. A Cactus Wren. Okay. And so I always like you to paint the picture of what if I'm out watching Burden, what am I looking for?
So a lot of wrens are pretty small birds, and this one's not huge, but it is on the bigger side of the spectrum for wrens. They're about 7 inches. Most wrens are quite a bit less than that, maybe an ounce to an ounce and a half. And they're a pretty neat bird. Most of the wrens are kind of drab browns and blacks and grays, and this is not really an exception, but it's pretty a neat looking bird. Like on their back and top of their head, they're mostly brown, but they have a really nice white kind of eyebrow stripe, and then their tail is kind of finely black and white banded, and then on their breast and belly it's kind of a cinnamon buffy color that has these black spots that are pretty far apart, but then as they get closer up to the throat, the spots kind of get closer and closer together, and they kind of turn into streaks and almost just kind of a big black area sometimes. So it's kind of I don't know, I've always thought it's a neat looking bird, and they have a fairly large bill for their size, and it's got a little bit of a curve to it.
Okay. And then you said you started to say the Southwest, kind of like where would we find this guy? How reaching is he?
It's pretty localized. They're in, far Southern California, Southern Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, probably about halfway across Texas, and then down into probably South Central Mexico. So it's a pretty restricted range compared to some of the other birds we've talked about.
But not in Australia.
Not in Australia.
But not in Australia. No,
not gonna do that.
No, not gonna happen. Solo guys, we gonna find these in together? Like what are we looking for there?
So they're typically, other than family groups, they're typically just in pairs. They don't migrate. They have very small home ranges. In fact, the males and females defend their home range all year round. They don't migrate anywhere or anything like that, and their home range is pretty small. It's only about 3 or 4 acres, and that's where they spend almost their entire life defending this small territory against not only other cactus wrens, but birds of other species, in fact, too.
So non-migratory.
Yeah.
Do any of them migrate? That's pretty much the deal, is they're going to stay and defend their turf? They're going to be like they're the kids you went to high school with that just like decided to stay home, and they're just going to live in Bishop their whole life.
Working in the coal mines.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so the young will be driven off from the adults' territory, but they're not going to typically go long distances, but they'll look for their own place to set up shop, just like we want to, kick our kids out at a certain age.
Tell me about it.
They boot them out kind of at the end of before the next breeding season, certainly. So it's just the pair again when it's next breeding season rolls around.
All right. So I could learn a little bit from these guys, how to get rid of their kids.
Yeah.
Lifespan. What are we talking about? How long these guys live?
So not very long. I think the males, the average lifespan is only a couple years, and the females is even less. I think
surprises me for some reason. I don't know why I would have thought that wouldn't be the case.
It surprised me a little bit too. A lot of times, birds have a lot longer lifespans than you think, and this is definitely not one of those birds. I think I read some records of maybe 4 or 5 year old birds, but for the most part, they don't live that long. And one thing to think about when I say the average lifespan, that also kind of factors in, a lot of the younger birds never even make it through their first year, and that's pretty common in most of the bird species.
All right. What's my favorite question?
You know, we're going straight to clutch size.
We're
right
going
now.
to clutch size. We're going right to the clutch. We're going right to the clutches.
Going to the clutches.
Yeah. So what are we looking at?
So probably the most interesting about the cactus wren's reproduction is their nests. They make these kind of neat nests. Using the metric system, they're about football. They look like a football kind of. So they're about 7 inches by 12 inches, and they're actually built. They're enclosed like a football, and they're usually built in like a cactus shrub, something with a bunch of thorns on it, or a mesquite tree.
But it's literally round.
It's football shaped, so it's kind of oblong, and it's totally enclosed.
So I thought you were being a real snooty guy and talking about a soccer ball when you said a football.
Oh, that would actually be the good usage of the metric system.
Well, you started with metric.
Football.
I mean, do you blame me? I mean, yes,
no,
I could.
No.
So I thought you were being real highfalutin there when you said football, and I was like, wow, look at Steve go.
I did not even think of that, and I probably should have specified, because we do have a lot of international listeners that when I say
we're learning this, right? We're learning this.
Yeah. So it's an American football shape, and so it's pretty neat. And they build like a little hole with kind of about a 6-inch long tunnel to get to the interior of the nest, and it's small enough the adults can barely get in there, and it helps keep some predators and things like that from getting into the nest to prey on the eggs or the young. Yeah, they're really neat, and they build a bunch of them. They might use like last year's nest for their first brood, but they're constantly building nests, and they will actually roost in other nests that they have on their territory, like some of the older nests, and so they spend time in the nests even when it's not the breeding season.
And so is this a lifetime thing? Since they stay in the same area forever, are they doing multiple nests, or is this like a one and done kind of deal?
So they'll have 1 to 3 in a year, and they will build multiple new nests in a year, although they may use the same one a couple times. But they'll build several nests. And 1 to 3 clutches, about 2 to 7 eggs. The eggs are kind of salmon pink or buffy, reddish brown spots, about 1 inch long. So not huge, but about what you'd expect for a bird this size. And they incubate them for a little over 2 weeks. And then after they hatch, then they feed the young for about 3 weeks. And then the young are able to kind of forage on their own at that point. Although often they will stick with the adults in kind of these loose family groups for a while.
So if they're not leaving far and they're like staying in the hood, the kids are staying in the hood. So this is going to be a generational kind of thing where I'm just guessing, since they're not traveling very far and stuff, that you're going to have the same gene pool in the same kind of geographic area for a long time then.
Yeah, I'm not sure how far the young actually disperse from the nest, but it's not huge distances, but there's enough to create some gene flow that they need to, maintain their population and healthy genetics and things like that.
Right.
They seem to be doing well and have healthy populations most of the place in their range.
Got it. And so is there different types of cactus wrens? Like when you look at from Mexico and on up, is there a difference? And a noticeable difference between the cactus wrens?
There's some subspecies that they've described. I don't know the differences of them, and I don't know if the differences are, if you can tell them visibly or not. I don't have a whole lot of experience in a lot of parts of that cactus wren range, but there are several subspecies, as I understand it.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. What else you got? Lay another fact on me.
They typically feed on the ground. They hunt insects and beetles and arthropods and things like that, spiders. And one thing in the desert, if you're the driest of the dry deserts, you might think, well, if they're only living in an area about 3 or 4 acres, what happens if there's no creek or spring or something on that? And one of the kind of interesting adaptations they have is they don't rely on free water to drink, to to maintain their life. So they get most of their moisture and water from the beetles and insects they eat, and they'll also eat cactus fruit, and sometimes I think they'll even get cactus sap to help, feed their moisture requirements. But pretty neat adaptation for a bird that lives in such a dry areas, is that they don't rely on free water.
So like cacti, they don't need a whole lot of water. Makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting. All right. What else you got for us? Lay it on us.
So the wrens in general, they're kind of a New World family for the most part. I think there's about close to 90 species of wrens, and all of them but one are only in the New World. And there is a wren in Eurasia. It's called the wren. It was actually the first wren that was described, but now since we took over everything over here, now we call it the Eurasian wren. But it's the only Old World species of wren. So it is kind of a New World family. And the cactus wren is the state bird of Arizona. So they took a liking to it as well.
Love it. I like me some Arizona. I like the weather. If I was a bird, I could see being in Arizona as well. Maybe August would be rough, but I don't know.
Yeah. They have some great birding opportunities in Arizona because you get a lot of migration coming through there that funnels up through Mexico. And then there's several different desert habitat types. And so you can have a lot of diversity down there. And there's some neat birds that sometimes they maybe rarely stray into the United States. And that's one of the places sometimes you can get some neat birds for United States that come from Mexico.
Maybe you could put this in your noodle, but another bird that I love is the roadrunners. And the first time I saw a roadrunner was on a golf course in Arizona, and I nearly shit myself. Like that was to see how accurate Warner Brothers was with a roadrunner and what was actually occurring on that. I laughed for quite a long time when I saw that. What's your take on roadrunners?
I love roadrunners. They're an amazing bird, but it's kind of funny you brought them up because they are one of the predators of the cactus wren. They will eat young cactus wren, and roadrunners are. We will talk about roadrunners for sure someday, but they're pretty awesome.
Roadrunners, are you talking about they eat the eggs or they eat the young?
I think they'll eat the eggs, but they will also eat the young birds.
What?
That can't fly that good. Yeah, roadrunners eat everything. Eat snakes, and they're like the apex predator in my mind.
Well, I mean, I'm learning that. I had no idea. I'm getting excited for our roadrunner episode.
They're no innocent victim like they've been portrayed in the cartoons.
No, maybe that coyote fucking had something. I don't know. Just the sound alone. Now, I don't know. I don't know which side I'm on now. Am I on Wile E. Coyote side or am I on the Roadrunner side?
Yeah, it's a tough call.
Let me ask you this. Coyotes. You know Wile E. Coyote. What's the Roadrunner's first name?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I was seeing if you knew.
You got me.
All right. Any last facts for us on the cactus wren or wrens in general?
I think we covered it pretty good today.
That was pretty good. That was a pretty good one. I like that one. One, you got me geography wise because I always like that area of the world. The Southwest is a very amazing, romantic place. I've had nothing but good times in those areas. And then that. Oh, do you hear that?
No.
That's the new intro music to our segment. Nice, right? And what used to be called Greg's Five is now called And Stuff, which makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
So that's let me play it one more time. Yeah.
Nice.
That's the intro. That's the transition music to And Stuff. You want to talk a little bit about who provided us that music, Steve?
You probably would be better off at this, but one of our longtime listeners,
sweet,
his brother I think, laid down those tracks and gave us several to choose from, and a lot of different. Some of them kind of brought to mind Seinfeld when I
100%. I like, and I mean, this is going to be everyone's, but I love it. All right, so it's time for Ann's stuff, and what I'm going to talk about today is something no sports during this stupid quarantine, right? COVID-19 hell. And so to kind of make up for that, my little brother created an online poker room in an app called Poker Bros. And we each Venmoed him some money, and then we play, and he play anywhere from 1 to 3 games, a couple nights a week, few nights a week, and mostly Hold'em, what we play. So we're playing one night, and we've been playing for weeks. This has been going on for weeks. And we're playing one night, and all of a sudden, a guy loses a hand, and this tomato comes out of nowhere and splats him in the face. And you have icons. You have these little icons that each player has. Splats him in the face. And I'm like, what the hell was that? And the person who I didn't really know goes, oh, I had extra tokens, diamonds, so I bought some stuff. And I'm texting my little brother, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? So I do a little research before our main game, and I buy some of these things. And if you touch the player's face, and like there's all these really insensitive like icons and avatars. And so I bought some of these things. And so my older brother, I beat him on a hand, and he folded, and I threw this tomato at him. Steve, I laughed for like 3 minutes. And so then there's all these, there's a pile of poop you could throw at him. There's a bomb you could throw at him. There's a fish you could throw at him. And me and my little brother are the only ones who bought this stuff at first. So we're hurling this stuff like it's the end of the world, and we only have one chance to do it. And we're texting each other, and I'm on the sofa crying, laughing, throwing this up. And what's funny is because we're playing not for much, it's like $10 buy in these hands. And to buy these emoji or these things to throw at people was 99 cents, right? 99 cents. No. For like a pile, for like 100 of these things.
Oh, okay.
But no one would buy them and my little brother called, he was like, all these guys are so cheap, none of them are going to buy it. So for the next 3 days, my brother and I are hurling this stuff at people, and just randomly sometimes we just didn't like the way that they played the hand. We throw it at them, and we're laughing, crying. It's still funny to this day, still funny. So now a couple more guys have done it, but for the most part of the 20 guys, everyone else is so cheap they won't do it. And they just know it's coming, and they know and it makes them mad. It makes them so mad. Oh man. So does it like stay on their avatar after you hit them for a while? Or? Yeah. And and it shows it come from you. So you have the poker table, and you're always at the bottom. And so it animates, like it animates a little tomato by your face and shakes, and it goes, and it splats them. And then it goes down their face. Dude, I laugh. So if you're on Poker Bros and if you're playing, don't be a cheapskate. Pay the 99 cents and really annoy the F out of people. It's well worth the money. And it to this day, I'm playing tonight. We're going to play a game tonight or a few, and I already can't wait to hurl some stuff at some people.
I wish I had a friend to play online poker with.
No, so one day, Steve. One day, you're so cheap. It's not that you won't even buy the shit to throw avatars. You won't even play in the game. You won't even pay the $10 to play virtual poker.
Do you have a penny hand game?
Yeah, exactly. Can I play for a penny? Someday, and one of these and stuffs, we're going to talk about my dad's poker tournament and talk about the history and legacy of that. But
sounds great.
But I laughed so hard that I had to do it. Okay, what did we learn today, Steve? We learned that the Cactus Wren call really equates to a Western movie, like what you would think is a Western movie. I think you nailed it when you described it. I really can picture it perfect. These guys are not found, with an underline not. These are not found in Australia. These guys are absolutely not found in Australia. About 7 inches big. Unlike me, they know how to kick their kids out of the house. So they get the nest to themselves at some point. Hope. Their young leave about 3 weeks in. They're already gone. They're gonzos. Is that right?
They're kind of on their own at that point, but yeah, they'll hang maybe in the territory for a while, but they don't need to be fed anymore.
We learned that we both love Roadrunners, that we're going to have a Roadrunner episode at some point in Bird Brag. Maybe season 1, we'll see. And then we learned that I'm a big child and like to throw stuff at people when I play poker, that it tickles me to no end. And I don't think it'll ever stop being funny. Oh, so one last bit of that. So as someone like, if you go all in and you get knocked out, you have like about a half a second to tap on them and throw something at them right before they disappear for good. So the final insult, if you knock them out, not many people do it. Like Dave and I don't do it very often unless like we beat them or something. And we know which people can take it and which people can't take it. But oh man, God, that's funny. That's funny stuff. All right. I think we did it all. We said it all. Any last words? Oh, last words were, don't forget Instagram to see the updates and see some cool stuff on there. There was a cool little sighting today that we had on there that people can catch up on. And if you have any questions or ideas, I wish people had ideas, or even if you have a musical sting that you want to put in, like some of our listeners have done, reach out to birdbrag@gmail.com. And
love to hear it.
And yeah, we would really enjoy it. We love hearing from people. So, all right, bud. Well, I think we did it.
Good job, Greg.
Episode 11 in the books. How do you feel now that it's done?
I feel better. I feel better.
Yeah. You went into it a little pins and needles.
Yeah. You brought the best out of me.
Yeah, I always try. Do you think that maybe you need a little bit more booze before we start?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we could learn that. How was trivia?
Listeners have been discouraging me. So,
how was trivia last night?
We got third place.
Tuesday night, right? Or
yeah,
last
we
night.
took third place.
Third place good, or third place okay?
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we're going to call it quits. So,
all right.
You hear that? That's the outro music. See you, buddy.
Later.